The third part of syntax is direct and indirect objects. Objects can come after a preposition or after a verb. When they come after a preposition, they come within a prepositional phrase. Here are some examples. In the afternoon, at the clubs, next to Mike. So in, at, next to are all prepositions. The afternoon, the clubs, Mike are all objects of the prepositions. You can use nouns like we did above. Afternoon, club, Mike, those are all nouns. But you can also use pronouns. For example, in it, at them, next to him. The next type of object is a bit more complicated, and that's the object of a verb. So these objects come after verbs to show who's receiving the action. And they generally come in this order. You have a noun or pronoun subject, plus a verb, plus the direct object. For example, I kicked the ball. Rob opened the box. Jenny called Joe. And you can use either nouns like we did above with ball, box, and Joe, or we can use pronouns. For example, I kicked it. Rob opened it. Jenny called him. Another kind of object that we frequently use in sentences are indirect objects. Not all sentences have indirect objects. Not all sentences have objects, but some do. So indirect objects are the people or things who receive the object, and they can come after the direct object or after the verb. So let's look at indirect objects that come after direct objects first. The order here is noun, pronoun subject, plus verb, plus direct object, plus two or sometimes four, and plus indirect object. Indirect objects can be nouns. For example, I kicked the ball to Susie. Randy gave the gifts to Doug. Alex washes the car for his parents. They can also be pronouns. So we can say, I kicked the ball to her. Randy gave the gifts to him. Or Alex washes the car for them. And if it's clear what we're talking about, both the direct and indirect objects can be pronouns. So, for example, we could say, I kicked it to her. Or Randy gave them to him. Or Alex washes it for them. A little bit trickier here is indirect objects that come after the verb. So this is the general order. We have a noun or pronoun subject, plus a verb, plus an indirect object, plus a direct object. Remember, you don't need to add the word to in this sentence order. And this does not work with the word for. So we cannot say Alex washes his parents the car. It just doesn't sound good in English at all. So indirect objects can be nouns. For example, I kicked Susie the ball. Or Randy gave Doug the gifts. Indirect objects can also be pronouns. For example, I kicked her the ball, or Randy gave him the gifts. When the direct and indirect object come after the verb, they cannot both be pronouns. It doesn't sound good in English at all to say I kicked her it or Randy gave him them. Please don't do that.